Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called "They Got What They Asked For." So years ago I worked as a tier 1.5 internet tech support for a major cable company. The position is just a senior tier 1 tech with access to a few more buttons that would break stuff if used incorrectly. You probably talked to my position when you asked for a supervisor. Part of the job was, when necessary, to credit customers for downtime they had in their service. Our rules were surprisingly lax for this company. Anything up to $20 would be auto-approved for any agent, up to $50 for those in my position. If someone called in and their service hadn't been working for 3 days, our troubleshooting indicated a reasonable probability the issue was our fault and required a tech on site in 2 days from now. We were allowed and expected to apply a credit to the account for 5 days of service. Service was usually $42.95 a month or $133 per day in a 30-day month. So in that example we'd be expected to add a credit of $7.15 and nobody would ever be in trouble if they rounded that up to an even $10. If the problem wasn't on our end, let's say somebody accidentally unplugged the power cable to the modem and waited 2 days to call in, again, nobody would ever be in trouble if they credited those 2 days to keep a customer happy. But for that one, they'd have to ask. We generally wouldn't do it proactively, since, not our fault. Now, finally, the dozens of virtually identical malicious compliance. There were a number of self-identified important people. Usually I was talking to them because they were angry jerks, to be blunt, who wanted a supervisor. In this situation, they were invariably calling for the latter issue. The one that wasn't our fault. And we walked them through plugging something back in or something equally simple and clearly not our problem. And then many of them would say my very favorite words. "Listen, I pay a lot of money for your service. It wasn't working and I want to be credited for every minute it was down. You hear me? Every single minute." Often a lot more words wrapped around this, various expletives, lots of attitude. I would answer, "You got it, sir or ma'am. Let's make sure I get you credited for every single minute you were down. You say this started at 9? Well, it's 10:24 now, so let's see. $42.95 per month is $133 per day, which is 5.965 cents per hour, which is 0.0994 cents per minute. You were out for 84 minutes, which means we owe you 8.351 cents. I'll just round that up to 9. Anything else I can do for you today?" In case you haven't worked a customer service job before and can't immediately picture the reaction, every single customer is now realizing what a stink they made to get a 9-cent refund. And I'm sure they could hear the grin in my overly polite voice as I happily acquiesced. Usually they can't even bring themselves to either apologize for overreacting or on the other end of things, say thank you for the near dime. 90% of the time, they'd hang up after a couple of seconds of silence. But hey, they got what they asked for. The next story is called "Compliance, the Other Way Around." This started out at the beginning of this year, and the after effects are still in play and will be felt till the end of this year. I work for a logistical company that specializes in the FMCG industry in New Zealand. I'm a semi-truck driver. We have about 55 drivers, spread out over 2 shifts. Now the salary is not top of the market, but the work environment and conditions are amazing. We have awesome management and you could literally get away with just about anything, which is good for all the lazy and dumb pricks we have working here. We had an incentive scheme, where you got paid a quarterly bonus of $250 just for looking after your truck, keeping it clean, no excessive speeding, things like that. Beginning of the year, management decided to change the incentive and bonus scheme to a $50 weekly bonus. But there was a little more compliance required, which was part of your job anyway, like doing paperwork correctly, being punctual and such. Now, immediately about 90% of the drivers were mad, because the $250 quarterly bonus was taken away, $1,000 total per year, and the weekly bonus was brought in, $2,600 per year. That resulted in just about everyone having a kinda slow strike and purposely clocking in late, not doing paperwork and such. To give you an idea of how easy it was to comply, I did not change a single thing that I did before the new bonus came into play, and I have gotten my bonus every single week since it was implemented. Now about 3 months in, roughly by the end of April, things reached a peak. We were called in for a meeting and ripped a new one. The union got involved and the demand was made that no one was consulted about the change in the bonus scheme. So they have to either change it back to the original quarterly bonus or the bonus has to be added in addition to the weekly bonus. And here starts the malicious compliance from the management. As it's written in the contract, the bonus does not have to be paid out quarterly, it can be done annually as well. And as stipulated, you have to be 90% compliant in your driving, paperwork and everything else to get the bonus. And because almost everyone did not comply for almost 3 months, it disqualified just about everyone from getting the $1,000 bonus this year. People were mad, but they only had themselves to blame. Another direct result of that was management being way more strict with the non-compliant drivers. Once again, this had no effect on the few of us that already complied. And within the next week, 7 of the worst drivers were let go for gross misconduct. I still laugh about it, thinking how dumb can some people be. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you want more content, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, don't forget to press the like button, it really helps the channel to grow. And now, on to the next story. The last story is called Just Following Your Rules. My dad worked in a factory for 33 years. Close to his retirement, he got a new boss. Dad says he should have had that guy's position and was offered it. But he turned it down as it was a non-union position. He just stayed with his union position as a group leader. Now this guy was a young college graduate, no experience working in a factory and took perverse pleasure in his authority. Anyways, one day the line Dad is working on goes down. So he tells the other 4 people on the line to scatter and help some other lines while he helps maintenance to get that line back up. While helping maintenance, here comes that boss kid of his. He jumped Dad. It is against company policy for group leaders to help maintenance. Also, it is against company policy for the others on the line to work on another line. In other words, you can only work on that line that day. You also couldn't help maintenance repair it. So Dad gets the other line workers and they head to the break room. The kid boss comes in, wondering what they are doing. It wasn't break time. Well, Dad reminded him that the line was down, that they weren't allowed to help fix it or work on another line, and that company policy states that if you are not actively working on the floor, you have to be outside or in the break room. So they stay in that break room, watching TV for 6 hours and got paid for it. The next day, the policy was changed so that group leaders were no longer allowed to work on a line. They were each in charge of 6 lines and were to only supervise and do quality control. And also that anytime a line goes down, the group leader can reassign people on that line to others. But it isn't over. Fast forward a few weeks. They had 2 callouts on a 5-man line. Dad shuts the whole line down and reassigns the remaining people for the day. The kid doesn't like this because the line was part of a big order processing and it would hurt his on-time bonus. He told Dad to grab the other 3 and help them on the line. Dad reminded him he was no longer allowed to work on the line and company policy stated each line can only be missing 1 person and still operate. Dad said, and 33 years of his sticking to the rules exactly cost no less than 200 policy changes. The last story is called He Wouldn't Listen. I used to work for a security alarm company in their dispatch office. I would get signals like burglary, fire, silent panic or maintenance needed notifications and follow our policy on responding. One of the highest priority alarms are silent panic alarms like you might have at a bank or a jewelry store. In this case, I believe it was a small business jewelry store. The thing about panic alarms is that we have very strict rules on how to respond. If someone calls, verifies the identity and gives the cancel code, we can't just cancel our immediate police notification. We don't know if someone is threatening them, and unless an account has specific instructions to do so, we never call anyone but the police, not even the account owner, until after the police are done. One day, a man calls in because his alarm system won't arm. He's getting a trouble signal, just a low battery, from panic alarm number 2. The system won't arm until that trouble signal is cleared, and we usually suggest people have spare batteries on hand, but it seems he didn't feel that was necessary. I let him know that we can send our on-call person out, or he can try picking up supplies from a battery store, but he just wants to go home. He's getting very frustrated, but there's generally nothing I can do from my end to bypass a panic sensor and arm his system like he demands. Eventually he says, I'll just smash it and go home. I try to tell him that will set off the panic alarm, but he uses some loud and unkind language, and then he hangs up. And then, seconds later, panic alarm number 2 is triggered. For our policy, I called the police, gave them dispatch information, then sat back down and felt very pleased with myself. It continued to feel kind of great even 5 minutes later when he called back infuriated that the police had shown up to his store for a panic alarm. I explained to him that something set off his panic alarm and we must respond to all of those with the same urgency since we never know what's happening on the other side. He wasn't pleased, but eventually we were able to reach our on-call tech to fix the panic button, which not only had a lot of battery but now physical damage that required it to be replaced. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.